Hey guys, just gonna be doing a live class today for all of our Benjamin Franklin girls. Trying to turn off the commenting here so that it doesn't pop up. So I'm gonna be doing warm-up and ballet for you guys again today like we have been. And then I have a couple other things that we're gonna go over today that will hopefully help you guys with your solos that you guys are turning in just a couple days. So I'm going to be going over some choreography tips for you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And by we, I mean, I think it's just me and Layla right now. Ballet. Starting with our play combo. Up and down, nice and smooth. sure you sustain your energy down and up in all of your plies. So there should never be any jerky motions, any drop or pop. Instead, muscles should sustain the movement down and up. Requires a lot more muscle and a lot more control, but that's how you build the ballet technique and the muscle to be able to do it better every single time you do it. So if you're not getting tired from plies, then work on sustaining that up and down motion more, because they should give you a workout by the time you're done, especially the inside of your legs. Okay? Inside of the thighs as you're coming up here, really just squeeze together and use all those muscles. Not to be stiff and holding your breath, but just have some tone in them so you have control. You're not letting gravity do anything for you. Like, use yourself as resistance. A lot of women, when they work out, they worry about holding up. They don't want to look like a bodybuilder, so they'll use their own weight resistance. And this is a weight resistance workout, because it means that we're using our body and our own muscles to create that resistance for ourselves rather than use free weights. Obviously, we do work with ankle and wrist weights. I think ours are on the stage right now, I don't even see them. And so you can, but mostly it's just your own muscle resistance. So really work for that, especially in a combo that's simple and you've done it several times, making sure that you have muscle tone down and muscle tone up so that you're creating that resistance for yourself. Remember, once again, this is kind of hard to see from where I'm standing, to really watch where you are on your releve. There should be a straight line from your knee, down your shin, down between like your first and second toe, okay? That should be your straight line. So as we're doing these releve exercises, if I'm here, well, it's really obvious to tell that I'm sickling. But if I'm in a first position, I'm doing that, sometimes a little bit harder to see from this angle. So make sure that you feel that weight is between your first and your second toe, and don't let yourself roll out to your pinkies. It's bad alignment, and it's dangerous for your ankles because you can see the kind of pressure that's on my ankle there. Versus here, my ankle's gonna be nice and strong. So in all these releve exercises we're doing where we're pushing up over the top in that forced arch position, we're doing it 2 feet at a time at the bar. We want to make sure we're not rolling back there, okay? We also want to make sure you don't put it here, right? Make sure that weight is in that straight line from your knee, down through your toe, okay, where it's nice and solid and stable. You'll probably notice in that exercise when you do it with one foot, you have one that's stronger than the other. Normally, if you're a righty, your left foot is going to feel more stable because that's the one where you like to do your turns. So that one is better at balancing. And if you're lefty, it's usually your right foot because that one's better at balancing. This is really good because it helps strengthen both sides so that you are better at both sides. It's a really good exercise for your turns. Holding and balancing and pushing from your prep position onto one leg, okay, for pirouettes or ossicones. It's also good for balance. It's a really good exercise. Make sure you don't grip the bar or your couch or whatever you're using, but that you're resting your hands on it for that one. That one's really easy to start gripping, especially for one leg. Okay. Moving on to our tendu combination. And I have a secret. I did not bring my shoes. I'm so sorry. And if any of my studio girls were here, they would make me do burpees for forgetting. But because of that, because this floor is new and clean, my feet might stick a little bit on my rondejams and my tendus. So keep in mind what tech you need to be having, even if my foot gets stuck. I know that's probably hard for a lot of us because we're working on different surfaces. I was watching a tutorial the other day on tendus and rondejams. I really liked it because it reminded me of the technique that's behind it. We want to make sure that we don't lift our heel before we have to. We want to keep contact with the floor for as long as we possibly can in all of our tendus in every direction. So we want to make sure that, yes, our heel comes up first, but we want to keep contact with the floor constantly, okay, especially through the ball of our foot. So anytime we slide out, we're keeping it in contact, it starts to lift, and then it pulls out. So really our ankle is what's leading the movement. We wouldn't want to come here and then point our toe. The ankle needs to be pulling forward the whole time, okay? That's what really is leading us through those positions. So it was a good reminder to me as I was watching this tutorial. It had two back-to-back, like an incorrect and a correct one, to watch the difference. That subtlety is really important. We don't have you guys stand on stage and do just tendus, but it translates into so many other things, like your kicks and your leaps and anytime your foot leaves the floor. So watch for those subtleties, especially because you're at home and you don't have a teacher watching you. Watch for those subtleties on keeping your foot in contact with the floor as much as possible. I used to have teachers that would say, like, pretend you're massaging the floor. So it's almost like you're pushing into the floor as you do those tendus, okay? To make sure that your devant is a true center. So make sure your devant, your toe should be in front of your belly button. What we like to do is pull it right out here. And you can see there's like a little bit of space between my legs, right? A little bit of space. No. Our devant should be right in front of our belly button because it's coming from fifth, which is right in front of us. So our devant should be right there, not open. If we're coming from first, then it's a little bit open, right? And we don't want that. Okay, that's why you guys are all advanced enough to go from fifth. Right in front. Same with our derriere positioning. It shouldn't be out here. This is super common. This is easier. That's why we do it. But it needs to be behind us, behind our belly button, behind our leg, so that when we close, we're in fifth again. So make sure that you are hitting that true devant and that true derriere, because otherwise we kind of cut corners, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're hitting the very, very front point, all the way down behind us and in. That honestly is something that I see in leaps sometimes, is that back leg hanging out here instead of being right behind us. And it affects our leaps and our splits. So make sure you hit that point in the back and in the front. This is our fondue. Can I get a drink here? If you guys watched last week's live class, I was sweating in here, like full sweat all around my neck. It was so gross. Hopefully this week won't be quite so long. Right, left, right, left. And instead I did low, high, low, high. So sorry about that. One more thing on that fondue combination. Well, on all of them, but I noticed it on that one. You'll notice, depending on how closely you're watching me versus just doing exercises with me, you'll notice that sometimes I make corrections with myself. Like I'll be doing an exercise here, and then I'll realize, you know what? My foot's not as turned out as it needs to be. My leg isn't, not my foot. Make sure that you're doing those self-corrections. Sorry, I had a low battery warning. Do those self-corrections because you're going to find them throughout the combo. Don't continue to do something the wrong way if you catch yourself doing it at the bar. Go ahead and find it. Yes, you don't want to like stop or restart the combo every time, right? But if you notice, oh hey, my foot's not very turned out, turn it out and keep going. Make sure you do those self-corrections if you find them, okay? Because you're never going to do a combo completely 100% perfectly right now, okay? Maybe when you guys become professional ballerinas, right? So if you find those things, don't hesitate to correct them as you go, okay? That's something that I have to do as I find it and as I have you guys watching me and I'm like, oh, I want to set a bad example, I need to fix that, okay? Film yourself doing it if you need to so you can see it. We're going to go over for the rest of the class today, which isn't super long, but I'm going to go over some solo tips for your project that you guys are doing, okay? And I decided to do this instead of doing like combo or technique because it is the last week, and we kind of got into a good spot in our combo. So I feel like this is the most beneficial thing that I can explain while for your last week and your last couple days. So I have a couple things on the board that we're going to go over. If you guys have already picked your song, I'm not telling you that you need to go ahead and redo your song, but there's a couple things about picking music that I've learned over the years and from choreography classes. If you pick a song that is super, super common, that everybody knows, everyone's already going to have an opinion on it. So picking music is often, it's usually my first step when I'm creating a dance. And so when I go to pick music, there's a specific song I have in mind that's maybe a really popular one that plays on the radio all the time. Then I often will see if I can find a cover of it. Okay, there's a lot of good artists out there that do covers, and they do it often enough that their stuff is found on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever you're using. So if you really want to do a song that you know people hear all the time, maybe try finding a cover of it, something that's just slightly different, so that when people hear it, that they don't automatically make assumptions about the dance or the song based on what they already know about the song. So you kind of want to take your audience by surprise just a little bit. That doesn't mean you can't use a popular song. It's not what it means at all. But when you use a popular song, people watch your dances with this preconceived notion in their head of what that song is about, or what that dance is about. Or maybe they love it, maybe they hate that song. So then they're like, oh, I don't want to listen to this. And they kind of dismiss your dance. And if you pick something that is a little bit different, or maybe just one that's not used as often, then it tends to get the audience's reaction a little bit more. Even if your audience is just me and Mrs. Ellis. Another thing about picking music is looking for dynamics in it and things that will keep your audience engaged. If you pick something that is all the same and is level and steady throughout the entire song, that makes it more difficult to have highs and lows in your dance. So look at those two things. If you have any questions, feel free to email me with, hey, this is a song idea I'm working off of, how do you feel about it? Then also remember that you've been asked to pick songs that are family friendly. That one shouldn't be a hard one, but just glance at the lyrics before you guys send them in, okay? What else? Oh, okay. Spacing. So part of the reason I wanted to do this was here is I want to talk to you guys about spacing and pathways when you're choreographing a dance. So the dance that we've been doing the last couple weeks, the contemporary combo I've been doing, is purposely stays pretty small because we're working with smaller spaces these days. But normally when you create a solo, your spacing involves, normally when you're creating a dance, it involves formations. But right now it's just you, so you don't have to worry about formations. So what can you do to make your dance interesting using your space is what pathways you take. So a pathway would be like forward or backward or to the right or to your left, okay? Diagonals, where you're going at diagonals, okay? So you have a variety of different pathways. And what you want to do is to use all of them as much as you can. So if I were to do a dance right now, and I only moved forward and backward the whole dance, no matter what I was doing, if I was doing a kick, ooh, I just hit my toe on the floor. Or a turn and I was only moving towards the front. That gets really boring really fast. So you want to mix up your pathways. If you are a righty, you want to avoid only doing stuff to the right. Only doing stuff to the right front corner. Only doing stuff to the right side. Because, oh, that's my good side. So I'll do a leap that way. I'll do a kick that way. And then this side, over here, never gets used. So you want to make sure that you vary the way that you travel. And as you guys are filming these, you'll notice really fast that, unless you have someone filming it for you, that your center, you have to keep coming back to center. If I travel doing a leap, and then I travel again, well then, you're out of luck because I can't see you. So making sure that you vary that pathway. You go right, and then maybe you find a way, after you move right, to go to the back, center, okay? And then after that, maybe you go forward. And then after that, maybe you travel back, okay? And then maybe you travel this way. So vary your pathways, and that really, really helps you to fill your space. For the most part, you want to use your space. Sometimes there are certain circumstances, like the combo we just did, that we purposely want it to stay enclosed. And that's not always a bad thing. That's an artistic choice to keep it small. But for the most part, you want to vary where you're going. Along with that, and using your space, you want to make sure you use your levels. So levels are high, middle, and low, okay? And when you're choreographing, you want to use a variety. You want to use a lot of high movements, a lot of middle, a lot of low, and those can convey different meanings. If you picked a song, because remember you're picking a song that's inspired by your time in quarantine, if you're picking a song that's really sad because you're getting really frustrated that you're not at school and with your friends, low level and medium level are going to be more your friend, because that portrays the audience that you're sad, that you're scared, that you're sorrowful. It conveys that meaning through body language if you're lower. If you're like super, super happy because you're having class and you don't have to go to school, really high level things are going to portray that energy and that emotion and that happiness. But even if your solo is super, super high, if all you did was up here, that'd be so boring because you have no dynamics and you need to vary it. So make sure you vary your levels, okay? Don't be afraid to use the floor. Don't be afraid to use height. And then middle is kind of where we tend to be in the most part, okay? And with that, I already said this, but I'm going to explain it a little bit fuller. Dynamics. Dynamics mean variety. Dynamics mean soft and hard. They mean quick and slow. They mean syncopated rhythms, not just count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4, but 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. So find your syncopations in your rhythm. Find your variety of your levels and your spacing, okay? Allow the music to help you find that. If you find a good piece of music that has dynamics in it, what we usually do is match those dynamics. You don't have to, but that's usually a very easy way for us to find the highs and lows in our choreography, is to, on the bigger movements, have, or the louder noises and the stronger beats, have the bigger movements. Okay, so find that in your music, match that with your music, allow your music to kind of be a guide on that, and it'll help you to create those dynamics. And then along with it, this is a little bit more of an advanced thought in choreography. So for those of you that are in advanced, this is a really, really good thing for you guys to start working on. It's called a motif or a theme. A motif or a theme is a movement that is repeated throughout the dance. Now, for the most part, we know, just in general, that we don't want to dance that is too repetitive, right? We don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. That's boring, we know that, so we don't want to do that. But a motif or a theme means that we are taking something that the audience is going to see at the beginning, maybe in the middle, and maybe at the end. And it helps connect your dance almost like it's a storyline, okay? You guys have all taken writing classes before, so you know how you want to connect your story together, right? So a motif might be something like, let me see if I can think of one that we have used already. Okay, so a motif might be like a grab to the audience. Now if I did that grab to the audience and then moved and then did that grab again and then moved and then did that grab again, that's too much, right? That's boring. But if I can use that, maybe do a grab to the front at the beginning, and then I dance, and a few 8 counts later, I do another grab here. That is a theme. It's a motif. It's something that I want the audience to see. Because it happens so quickly, they see it the first time, it kind of registers. They see it the second time, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get the message that you're conveying. And I just thought of an example. So, sorry, I keep getting my low battery line. I just thought of an example. A couple years ago, I choreographed a dance that was based on the Holocaust, and it was for my studio girls. And during the Holocaust, you know that prisoners of the concentration camps had numbers tattooed on their arms, right? So the motif that we used, the theme that we used in my dance, is that the girls would touch their arm, as if they were, because they were prisoners in the concentration camp. That was our theme and our storyline behind the dance. So they would touch their arms. So there was a move where they went like this, okay? And then there's a move later where they grab it. So this kept reoccurring. Somehow in the dance, we would come back to it and we would grab our arm, or I think at the end, they grabbed it here, or they grabbed it like this, or something like that at the very end. I obviously don't remember the exact choreography, but that motif helps convey a storyline to the audience. The audience might not have known that we were talking about the tattoos of the Holocaust survivors, but they know that this keeps coming up and that this means something and it's important. So look for something that you can do in your dance as a motif. Maybe a specific move with, it doesn't have to be with your hands, okay? Maybe it's sharpness with your head. And you do it maybe to the left the first time and then you're dancing, okay? And then maybe you do another sharp movement here. So maybe your motif is sharpness through the head. But find ways to incorporate that throughout your dance, and it'll help create this nice storyline that keeps the audience connected. So I'm gonna go ahead and end, and I know that was mostly just ballet technique and me talking, but I just wanted to give you guys some feedback for those solos. I've seen a couple come in already, and I just want to give you guys some things to work with, because you're not here in class with us where we can kind of watch and help direct and give you some ideas. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you email me or Mrs. Ellis, and we are more than happy to give you guys some feedback. Even if you want to send us like, oh hey, I have, you know, most of it, but I need a little bit of help here, or what do you think about it so far? That's what we're here for.